Oh, that's lovely. I haven't seen Alexa in 20,000 years. That's awesome. Welcome.
Thank you.
Hi,
Nice to
Alexa.
see you.
Coco, I'm gonna go back to my place now. Is it okay? Is it fine now?
Yeah, that should all be streaming now, hopefully. And I shall just. Now I'm just going to check. Let me see. Okay, you can't really see my head. You still can't see my head. That's worse. Aha. Now I just need to mute Slack, otherwise we're going to get lots of things coming in. Thank you for your patience. Sorry, just a few more technical difficulties than normal, but thank you. Good to see you here, so hello. Welcome to our normal full moon Ryaku Fusatsu ceremony. It's lovely to see you here. Sekishi's busy today, so I will be doing this alone, but that should be fine. There's not so many bells. So. We'll begin in the normal way by offering incense. As most of you know, I have mobility issues, so I do the whole ceremony really just from seated. So,
Coco, just one second. Can you make sure? Can you make sure you're loud? Because you've got the background noise from the computer, and it's making you really low. So just be loud.
okay, I'll try and I've unplugged the fan. I don't know if it'll help. There may be an internal fan. Because I have an issue that with this webcam, it has to be further away. So, well, this, yeah. Okay. Well, we shall begin. And just a note, at the after offering incense, there will be prostrations. You can either do full prostrations from standing, or you can just do a deep gasho from seated. So it's completely up to you. Before we start on the main part of the ceremony, we'll just take 5 minutes to sit zazen together. Just to bring ourselves out of our normal part of our day, whatever we've been doing. Bring ourselves into the here and now. The great precepts of Gautama Buddha were kept by all Buddhas. They were transmitted from Buddha to Buddha, and they were received by ancestor after ancestor. Our great master Gautama Buddha transmitted the precepts to Master Mahakasyapa. Master Mahakasyapa transmitted the precepts to Master Ananda. And the transmission of precepts has continued in this way, passing from orthodox successor to orthodox successor in one line. On this day of the full moon, we reaffirm our commitment to the precepts to return the profound benevolence of Gautama Buddha. We trust this to be the true reception of Gautama Buddha's wisdom and life. Respectfully following the approval of Gautama Buddha, we would like to devote ourselves to the Mahayana precepts, and we begin by atoning for past misdeeds. And together, we chant the verse of atonement 3 times, and if you wish, you can make a prostration or a seated bow after each verse. All harmful acts, words and thoughts ever committed by me since of old, on account of beginningless greed, anger and ignorance, born of my body, mouth and mind, now I atone for them all. All harmful acts, words and thoughts ever committed by me since of old, on account of beginningless greed, anger and ignorance, born of my body, mouth and mind, now I atone for them all. All harmful acts, words and thoughts ever committed by me since of old, on account of beginningless greed, anger and ignorance, born of my body, mouth and mind, now I atone for them all. We now invoke the presence of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, and this is both to have them as symbols of perfect practice of the precepts and also as symbolic witnesses to our retaking of the precepts. In Mahayana Buddhism, in Theravada, it's very much a sort of earth-based, realistic thing. There's not hosts of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas everywhere. Whereas in Mahayana, such as Zen, we don't see life just ending in the world we can see. There's worlds beyond we may not be able to see. And the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas are part of that. We don't know what else there is there. We don't know what sentient beings exist or what's out there. We're not saying there is, we're not saying there isn't. It's a kind of a don't know mind. It's just the fact we recognize there is a vastness of experience out there that we just cannot comprehend. And the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas are part of that, as well as being part of us and part of everything that is. We can all recite this together. Homage to the 7 Buddhas of the past as symbols of our connection through time. Homage to Shakyamuni Buddha, a person of this earth. Homage to Miroku Buddha, symbol of hope for the future. Homage to Monju Bodhisattva, a symbol of great wisdom. Homage to Fugen Bodhisattva, symbol of great activity. Homage to Kanzeon Bodhisattva, symbol of great compassion. Homage to the successive generations of ancestor Bodhisattvas. And you can see in that we begin with a homage to the 7 Buddhas of the past, which are often seen as the mythical Buddhas that came before Shakyamuni. And then you have Miroku Buddha, who is Maitreya. And what we're saying there is, before Shakyamuni there was enlightened people. And after Shakyamuni, after all the teachers we have now, there will be future Buddhas for whom Maitreya is symbolic of. It's just saying there is no temporal or spatial limit to being a Buddha. It exists everywhere at all times and all places, and this is what this is saying. We do not just limit it to the here and now. Buddhahood is everywhere. And now we come to the water purification. So hopefully you have a bowl of water and a sprig of pine or something else. And if you don't have water or leaf, it's fine just to mime this part. Or if you have water and no foliage, you can just use your fingers. And all we're doing is using the foliage and the water to sprinkle 3 times on our forehead as a symbolic purification of all of our breaking of precepts over the last month. So that's what we're doing. So if you just want to do that. And this is the part of the ceremony that I do wish we were in physical the same space. So you could come in a line, I could just gently flick you with water. And to be honest, I don't know how hot it is with you guys, but on a day like today, being flicked with water isn't such a bad thing. So if you'd like to do that on my behalf, that would be great. Always when they talk about doing this, it's with a pine twig normally, and I'm not exactly sure why that is. I know the pine generally, because of its scent and its kind of antibacterial properties, it's seen as a cleanser, but I don't know if there's a more symbolism to it as well. I don't know if just pine was an easily available tree. I don't know. I'll have to look this up because I'm wondering. And now we do that, and we essentially become a clean slate. All of our actions now begin anew with retaking the precepts. In living by vow, Shuhaku Okumura says that essentially the Zen path, we live between vow and atonement. We make these vows, we know we're going to break them. We're human beings, we can't ever live up to the Mahayana precepts all the time. We take these vows, we know we're going to break them, but that doesn't alter the sincerity with which we take the vows. And then it comes to the next full moon, or even before that in our Zazenkai, we do the verse of atonement. We atone for having broken them, then we recommit again. It's an ongoing process. And it's not even a process of trying to get better or perfect. Of course, we do hope we break them less as we go along. It's more a sense of awareness of our life, a committing to a direction of travel we want to go in, and then being aware of how we are behaving and acting during the course of our everyday life. So, as the beginning of the recommittal to the precepts, it's traditional to recite from the Brahmajala Sutra, or the Brahma's Net Sutra. And in Japanese, if you ever see it anywhere, it's called the Bonmyokyo. I think I pronounced that somewhat correctly. So, all you disciples of the Buddha, join your palms in reverence and listen wholeheartedly. Hands in Gassho. I would now like to articulate the preface to the great precepts of the Buddhas. If members of the Sangha will quietly listen, and they know they have done wrong, they will atone. If they atone, then they will be at ease. If they do not repent, their wrongdoing will grow more grievous. Those who have done wrong are silent, and because of their silence you should know that they are all purified. Worthy members of the Sangha, listen well. In this difficult age, when the lifetime of the Buddha sometimes seems distant, you should revere the Pratimoksha. The Pratimoksha is none other than these precepts. When you observe these precepts, it is like darkness meeting with light. It is like someone poor attaining a treasure. It is like someone who is ill being healed. It is like a prisoner being released from his chains. It is like a traveller who is able to return home. You should know that these rules are the great teacher for this Sangha, no different from the presence of the Buddha in the world here and now. When we recite the precepts, thoughts of fear are difficult to produce. Unwholesome thoughts are difficult to give rise to. A sutra says, do not trivialize minor misdeeds as if they are not problematic. Drops of water, although tiny, will gradually fill a large basin. A single instant of wrongdoing can lead you to fall into a hell of uninterrupted suffering. Once you lose your human body, you may not get another for 10,000 kalpas. Just as a galloping horse passes by swiftly, one's physical strength will not remain. The transience of human life goes beyond the mountains and the seas. Even if something remains for the duration of one day, it will be quite difficult to hold on to it tomorrow. Members of the Sangha should each energetically advance their own minds. Be careful not to be lazy, negligent, drowsy, or arbitrary. In the evening, you should gather your thoughts and focus them firmly on the three treasures. Don't take as being a waste of time the effort to deepen your repentance for those of later generations. Members of the Sangha, each of you in your own mind should carefully rely on these precepts. Discipline yourself in the practices which accord with the Buddha's teachings. And we begin by taking the three refuges. So hands in Gassho, and we can recite these together. Respectful devotion to Buddha, respectful devotion to Dharma, respectful devotion to Sangha. Devotion to Buddha, the Supreme One. devotion to Dharma, the supreme purity and teaching, devotion to Sangha, the supreme community, perfect devotion to Buddha, perfect devotion to Dharma, perfect devotion to Sangha. And we continue with the 3 pure precepts. Today we reaffirm our commitments to seek as we can in this body and life to avoid doing harm, to seek as we can in this body and life to live in a healthful and helping way, doing good, to seek as we can in this body and life to live for the benefit of all sentient beings. Now we reaffirm our commitment to the 10 fundamental precepts. Today we reaffirm our commitment to seek as we can in this body and life to refrain from the killing of life, to seek as we can in this body and life to live in generosity and refrain from taking that which is not given, to seek as we can in this body and life to refrain from misusing sexuality and all desire, to seek as we can in this body and life to refrain from false and malicious speech, to seek as we can in this body and life to refrain from intoxication in its many forms, to seek as we can in this body and life to refrain from unconstructively criticizing the errors and faults of others, to seek as we can in this body and life to refrain from praising ourselves and judging others, to seek as we can in this body and life to refrain from stinginess in bestowing the Buddhist teachings and all precious things, to seek as we can in this body and life to refrain from all anger, to seek as we can in this body and life to refrain from disparaging the 3 treasures, Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. And now we've reaffirmed the precepts. We recite the 4 Bodhisattva vows 3 times, as we usually do. To save all sentient beings, though beings numberless, to transform all delusions, though delusions inexhaustible, to perceive reality, though reality is boundless, to attain the enlightened way, a way non-attainable, to save all sentient beings, though beings numberless, to transform all delusions, though delusions inexhaustible, to perceive reality, though reality is boundless, to attain the enlightened way, a way non-attainable, to save all sentient beings, though beings numberless, to transform all delusions, though delusions inexhaustible, to perceive reality, though reality is boundless, to attain the enlightened way, a way non-attainable. Abiding in this ephemeral world, may we exist in muddy water, with purity like a lotus. Nothing escapes the boundless mind. Thus we bow to Buddha. Buddha nature pervades the whole universe, reality existing right here now. In reaffirming our commitments to the precepts, we dedicate our sincere efforts to Shakyamuni Buddha, Honored One, the historical Buddha and teacher, to the all-pervading and everlasting three treasures, to all arhats and bodhisattvas, mahasattvas, and their relations throughout the Dharma worlds. May our sincere vows to accomplish and live the enlightened way be realized together. And we all recite the last part. All Buddhas throughout space and time, all Bodhisattvas, Mahasattvas, Maha, Prajna, Paramita. Thank you so much for coming, friends. I really appreciate you turning up. I will apologise for not wearing robes today. It's 30 plus degrees here. It's probably hotter where you are. But yeah, it's hot. It's hot. So I decided today was officially a t-shirt and Ryaku day, and that was just the way it was going to be. But thank you so much for coming and retaking the precepts. Really appreciate it. It's really lovely to practice with you in this. So take care, and I'll see you very soon. Cheerio.
Can you hang out for a second? The stream.
Yeah, it's a good